Tonight on WeatherBeat, a frontal system moving through the United States could deliver blizzards and cold misery for millions. The same too could arrive in the United Kingdom next week. And we take a quick look at Invest 90E. And welcome to another episode of WeatherBeat, where we take a look at what's going on in the world of weather all around the world. We try and be as inclusive as possible. Just to remind you, if you do have any weather stories that you'd like us to bring up that we haven't told you about today, please let us know for a future show and we'll do our best to put it out there. We really want to hear from you wherever you may be watching us from tonight. Well, the main topic of discussion, of course, concerns the United States, because a significant winter weather event looks like it's on the cards in the next few days, sweeping from west to east. And to talk about it with me right now is Thomas. Hello Thomas, how are you? New to Force 13. You can tell us a bit about yourself as well if you like. Up to you.
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on, Nathan. Yeah, I'm Thomas Schwent from Microcasting St. Louis. I started really tracking weather about 5-6 years ago now, and it's really captivated my interest since I started tracking it. So I made the YouTube channel Microcasting St. Louis, and I've been doing that for almost the past 2 years now, and now I am a proud member of Force 13.
Well, how about it? And let's go right into it. This system is impacting the west coast tonight, I gather, and could deliver blizzard conditions to the mountains of California.
That is a true statement. Currently, blizzard warnings have been put into effect by the National Weather Service, and those are really showing just how powerful this low-pressure system is. It is a quite powerful one, quite the pressure gradient, but currently in the forecast right now, blizzard warnings and winter storm warnings, the National Weather Service is currently touting that we could get up to 2 to 4 feet, I'm sorry, likely above the 5,500 feet threshold on mountains, and 6 feet possible over the peaks of many mountains in the state of California. So quite a bit going on there, and wind gusts up to 45, maybe even 60 miles an hour in some places. So whiteout conditions expected within the state of California.
GFS calling for possibly snowfall totals exceeding 48 inches on those mountains. It's not likely to go down to the lower levels, is it though?
No, it's probably not going to get quite that low. Currently, the GFS, if I go over here, is predicting right now things around 65 degrees in some spots on the lower levels. The higher in altitude you get, the lower the temperature gets, but currently GFS initializing about 29 to 30 degrees on the peaks of the mountains, and you can see up to 65 degrees on some places in lower levels. So snow accumulations won't be quite as much the lower you go.
And after that, the system's likely to move through. Where does it go next following the low-pressure system? It's going to deliver lots of snowy conditions over the states where you imagine there'd be quite a lot of snow anyway. But the low tracks through Oklahoma and then off towards the Ohio Valley region, and could deliver some serious conditions over there as well later on in the week. And you in between, of course.
Yes, I'm going to be right in the middle of this system. It's going to move through here. This system, though, actually isn't going to be the most powerful one that's probably going to be moving through over the next week or two. We're going to get another one probably around the Tuesday to Wednesday time frame that at least right now is looking about equally as strong, if not stronger, in some spots.
Really?
But yeah, the current low pressure system that's moving in actually looks like it's going to move through, and it's not even going to be at its strongest when it goes into the Ohio Valley, but it looks like it might shoot back up north and become a big nor'easter that the states of New York, Pennsylvania, the general New England region is going to have to watch out for.
Yeah, what follows, there's something else following the system there as well next week that you point out, but this system deepening as it reaches the mid-Atlantic region according to the GFS model, its aerial coverage increasing markedly, and the turnover point really of that rain to snow it's suggesting would be somewhere around central Pennsylvania and upstate New York.
Yeah, that's what it's really looking at. Looking like right now. If I do pull up some snow graphics here, if we take a look at the next 10 days, I'm going to get this pulled up for you, Nathan. But there really is a high amount of snow that is truly expected with this. So if I do pull up the accumulations here, this is near upstate New York. This is in the states of Maine, stuff like that. This is over the next 10 days. Maine, the ECMWF currently touting 37 inches in some spots in Maine, and as you go farther down to New York, around the 20-inch mark, and throughout the entire state, at least 14 inches or so.
Would you lend much credence to? Would you lend much credence to those amounts of numbers? Do you think that's right?
I'm not 100% sure at this point. Again, this is over the next 10 days. If you go to the next 5 days, not quite as much. I'm pretty confident that the state of New York is going to get at least a foot of snow throughout the vast majority of the state, and I think Pennsylvania is going to be right there with it. I think Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts could all get that. Connecticut and Rhode Island are a little more iffy on that, and so is New Jersey. They're going to be right on the borderline there, but still, I would be expecting high snow accumulations and rough travel conditions.
Now, some models have been predicting a very deep Arctic plunge in not very long. One or two models saying that by the weekend, overnight temperatures could fall well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit into the minus, maybe even minus 20s in some areas in the very northern reaches of the United States.
Yeah, that is definitely a true statement. If I take a look here, this is the European model, and what it's showing at the peak of this cold hike here. So you can see negative 20, negative 25 even being touted by the ECMWF around the early Monday time frame, at least for my time zone, Central Time. But yeah, about negative 25 being touted in some spots here. But currently below 0 temperatures are definitely expected in a good portion of the area. In my city of St. Louis, we're right on the borderline right now, around the 1 degree, 0 degree mark for the lows there, but still very low temperatures. The GFS not really saying too much difference, still sub-zero temperatures, negative 10, negative 15 being shown here in some spots.
Wow. Anything else you'd like to put forward on this matter? We're going to be watching it very closely for a few days, no doubt.
Yeah, we will be. The biggest thing that I really want to say is that the National Weather Service does know what they're doing with this. So if you're under a blizzard warning or a winter storm warning, please do heed their advice as they say it, because it's very important that your safety is adhered to. The National Weather Service does care about your safety. That's part of the reason why they issue these alerts. So if they do say not to travel, please do not travel. Please listen to them, and please take this storm seriously.
Shutdown or no shutdown, they're doing well, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Well, thank you very much for that, and now we're going to take a little look at what's going on this side of the pond as well, because we are in the UK and in Europe. We're also looking towards a cold weather event coming up in the next few days as well. Let's take a look just quickly at what we're expecting over the next few days. This was also covered on a Force 13 UK weather forecast a few hours ago. You can see over in Scotland some snowfall occurring over the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow. Could be extending further south as well. Of course, you can see a low pressure system moving through into Scandinavia, into Russia. But the main system that we're looking forward to, as some people might say, because people are crazy about snow over here, is this next system that's coming through in around 4 or 5 days time. In fact, Thomas, is that the same system that is striking the US right now?
Yeah, it actually might be. Let me go double check that. But there's another system already up in the north that's marching its way. Yes. No, it's not the exact same system. So it's already a system that's marching its way, but that one has a pretty warm air mass.
But yeah, I'm talking about Monday, though.
Monday.
Yeah.
Let's see.
This would be ridiculous if it is the same system. But this sometimes can happen.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Let me take a look at Tropical Tidbits to see when it moves out of here. It does move out of here.
I'll just let you find that answer whilst I tell everyone what's going to go on with this system when we enter next week. So early days, Monday into Tuesday, we could be looking at a significant snow event for the British Isles. Into Europe later on in the week, look at France, Belgium, Holland, even into northern and central Spain. Significant amounts of snowfall currently predicted by the GFS model. That is next week, the middle of next week, so that is quite a long way away, and things can change. but a significant weather event occurring there, and very windy as well, because look at the condensed isobars there suggesting some strong winds, and that will of course impose a huge wind chill in many areas, which will make it feel as though it won't get above freezing in many locations, which by US standards in the north over there, very warm, but by our standards over here, much below average. As a matter of fact, if we do take a look quickly at the temperature anomalies, you can see how much of a departure it is over the next few days from normal. Once it loads completely, you can see when the system moves through there Monday, the UK and Ireland well below normals, and then France and Spain and pretty much the whole rest of Europe apart from the Greece and Bulgaria region is well below average, and that's the trend that we're looking at quite possibly for days to come after that too. So we're really looking for a cold spell setting in over here in Europe. Finally, the answer, is it the same system that's affecting the US?
No, it isn't. It's not the exact same system, but the system is intertwined. It's going to get absorbed by another system that will be impacting you. So,
I see. So indirectly.
But it indirectly will be a part of what you do get.
Crazy goings on. Well, now let's take a look at what's going on elsewhere around the world. Spells of heavy rainfall in the last few days have caused travel disruption in South Africa in the province of Limpopo. Heavy snowfall has isolated over 2,000 in Switzerland, with 3 killed from avalanches in the last few days. Continuous rainfall in the last few days has caused flash flooding near Sandakan in Malaysia on the island of Borneo. It's understood that conditions are improving, however. And let us know about the weather in your backyard. If you have a local story or any footage for us, do send it in at any of our social outlets or directly by email, contact@force13.com. Alright, so the final feature that we want to discuss tonight, and it's probably one that everyone wants to know about, because when something like this happens, not just once but twice in January, it certainly gets people on the edge of their seats, or at least some people in the storm tracking community. If you haven't found out the news yet, Invest 90E has formed in the Eastern Pacific. That's not the system we were talking about last week, it's a whole nother system. It's not got very long to develop, and now we'll hand back to Strat for his thoughts on this system. Strat.
I mean, it's very interesting to see 2 areas of interest formed this early in the year in the Pacific, Eastern Pacific in particular. I don't think we've ever really seen this before, at least in record that we have, so it's pretty unprecedented. No models really pick up on development for this, so I'm not really sure why they have it as an invest rather than an area of interest. If it develops, it's going to have to do it really in the next day or so before conditions are too hostile, and they already aren't good right now. Lots of wind shear cutting over the system. But it makes people think what might happen later in the year if we're seeing activity this early on. And
you can see there the National Hurricane Center haven't put out anything on this at this point. And you must be surprised by that, because the last one wasn't designated an invest and had 50% chance.
Looking at this, I'm kind of surprised that the Navy even put it as one, because it's heavily sheared and it has a day to develop at most. I thought they would put the original area of interest at 50% a invest rather than this one.
But wouldn't you say it does?
Showed that.
Wouldn't you agree it does look a lot better than the other system that we had last week?
It looks better. It does look better.
An ASCAP pass didn't find a circulation earlier today, but did find 35 knot winds. Displaced to the east, and you can see it's been trying to form that circulation. It's been close to it today, but it does look like in those later hours it's starting to lose itself again, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the satellite imagery, and it looked like it was starting to get its act together just the smallest bit, and that convection's really been sheared off to the east in recent hours. Unless we really see a flare-up, I don't really anticipate seeing this yet. If it did, it would be the earliest on record, I'm pretty sure. Originally, after the first area of interest, we had a research discussion about whether or not there was a potential storm at this time of year, and the answer I think we found to that was no.
We can't say, but probably. But then...
At least in record.
But then, you know, these systems, I mean, if this does develop into a tropical storm, it's definitely tropical at the moment, according to the phase diagrams. But, you know, I guess if anything, it goes to prove that it is possible. It is a low latitude, 6.5 north there.
And it's definitely going to get people excited and or nervous for what we can anticipate once we get into the regular part of the season, especially if the El Nino consists and potentially intensifies.
Well, you talk about this El Nino, it's not much left of it now, to be honest.
Is it really? Has it changed that much already?
It's shrunk a bit, especially in the Eastern Pacific. In fact, there could be signs of a new La Nina, maybe, but, well, you're looking at a chart there yourself. What's your take on it? Tropical Atlantic is cold. Pacific is moderate, really.
It's definitely weakened down a bit, but if it stays warm, we didn't have really an El Nino last year for the most part, and we still had the most active season on record. So if we see a situation similar to last year, or if we get back to a stronger El Nino, people are definitely going to be very interested to see what this year can bring for the Eastern Pacific.
And neutral years can often breed activity in the Atlantic as well. Thomas, any thoughts on this over there?
My current thoughts on this are that, yeah, the El Nino does look like it has been dwindling, and at this point, it's really not overly known whether it's going to continue to dwindle or not. I personally think it's going to sustain itself, at least according to the climate system models that I've looked at recently. But I've also had to take a look at that invest out in the Eastern Pacific, and I think this year could potentially be another historic year over there. I mean, we've just seen incredible amounts of activity over the past few years, and I don't see much of a reason why that trend is going to be stopping anytime soon.
Wow. Well, we'll leave it there. That's Invest 90E, and that's all from WeatherBeat tonight. We hope to see you again soon. Until next time, stay safe out there. It's a crazy world. Good night.
Yeah, have a nice rest of your day.
Good night.
Along with the main Force 13 channel for our world audience, we have regional channels, Force 13 AU and Oceania, Force 13 UK and Ireland, and Force 13 US and Caribbean. These channels all need your support and involvement, so if you're in those areas, please check them out. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com with the latest. You can also find our YouTube page. You're probably there already, but if not, subscribe if you haven't so far. You can also find our Facebook page, Force 13 all in text, and it's at Force 13 on Twitter if you'd like to get in touch with us on there. You can also help the project become even better by enjoying the benefits of patronage. You can find out more information about how to become a patron and what those benefits are at patreon.com/Force13. You can also find my personal account on Discord, Fool13 at extension 9094, and Force13 on Skype.